Good morning. You're listening to Insurance Matchmaking, your path to health, life, and Medicare coverage with Matt Libby Insurance. And now, sharing his knowledge, here's your host, Matt Libby.
Good morning. Welcome to Insurance Matchmaking. I have a wonderful guest today. I have Tyler Lannom with the Beacon Legacy Group. I'll make sure I say that right.
That's correct.
Sometimes I'll mess up what people who they are. Or what I want to call them something else. I had one guest previously. She has a AI trainer, and I kept wanting to say A1.
It seems to make more sense. Yeah.
Oh, no, it's AI.
It's AI. Yeah.
Anyway, if you're not familiar with the Beacon Legacy Group, Tyler has a law office here, and I'll let him explain a little bit more, but he helps people with estate planning, does a lot of workshops, kind of like I do with my Medicare 101s, and welcome to Medicare workshops. Hopefully, as we're recording this, got one scheduled for this week, and then on Monday, we'll be at the Cookeville Library. We've got a chance of snow again on Monday, and so they may close, and just kind of that weather contingency is anytime if I can't get it at the library, I do offer it again at my office. We do that 2 o'clock in the afternoon one, the day of the evening. And a lot of times I'll cancel school and the roads aren't that bad. So if the library does close, I will be planning on doing that 6 o'clock workshop at my office just in case. And we will call anybody that's registered. So that's why it's important to go ahead and pre-register. We don't hound you and bug you about keep calling you every other week because you gave us your phone number if you register. But, at least that way we can let you know that something's come up and we can't do that. Tyler checks a lot of the boxes of, who I say I'd like to have as a guest because it's people who work with the same people I do. I do get a lot of questions from my clients about estate planning and things like that, and Tyler can help with that. And I do a lot of stuff that his clients ask about. But I've also said, hey, if you're a veteran or you're a veterans organization, and Tyler, I guess not technically a veteran, you're still
actively serving.
Serving in the reserves as a JAG lawyer. Now, and is that it's probably different from your private practice. And I think you said, and I'll let you kind of give us a little bit of your history. I think you had said you had done some defense law?
Like national security law? No, not exactly. Normally, so what I'm doing right now, I represent like the Army itself. So it's very different from my private practice where I'm representing the individual. We represent commanders and help them separate soldiers for misconduct and things like that. So it's much more administrative in nature and helping advising them on like what their parameters are, what they can and can't do, and things like that. But what you're referencing is national security law, like rules of engagement and that kind of thing. And I don't have a background in that.
No, I was meaning like trial defense.
Oh, yeah. So I actually started off my career as a public defender. A lot of people don't know that. My background is in trial work. Yes, I do have a couple of years as a defense attorney. Yep.
Now, do you also, you talked about advising commanders, but do you also do the other side of, like with an Article 15, do you do the defense there at all, or are you always kind of on the prosecutorial side?
Yeah, so like as our careers develops in the Army Reserve as JAG attorneys, that's something that I would be literally what's called a trial defense attorney, trial defense. So right now we wouldn't be able to do that. We would just represent, the commander or the unit that's bringing the Article 15 or at the separation board and those kind of things. And so, the soldiers always have right to counsel, and that's a different type of attorney.
So you're just somebody else doing that.
Yeah.
All right. And so now how many years you've been in the reserves?
Coming on 15 here in March. 15. Coming up. Yeah.
So you can officially retire in 5 years, but now in reserve though you can't draw on it when you retire after 20 years. Right?
That's right. Yeah, the pension wouldn't start until age 60. So, but that's okay. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. My brother-in-law he had worked in the reserves in Washington, had a dual status job. So he had like a GS-7 when he was at the office, but when he traveled to other departments, he would wear his uniform.
yeah. There's a lot of that goes on actually, but that's cool.
So that was a neat job that he had.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit how Beacon Legacy Group, how that started. I know you changed the name of your business. You were Lannom Law, but you were doing that kind of work anyway. Yeah. And what prompted the name change? And you've been doing these workshops kind of like I do for the introductory stuff. You're pitching yourself, but you're not selling. Of course, you can't give legal advice in public.
Yes, yes, and that can be touchy sometimes. Yeah, but I'd love to kind of give your audience kind of our origin story. And thank you so much, Matt, for having me on. Your insurance matchmaking, right? Is that the name of the show? Because it does so much intersect with what we do. And so for the audience, we are an estate planning lawyer, okay? And so we've been here in Cookeville since 2018, and that's really when we got into estate planning. So over the course of the last 6 or so years. Prior to that, my wife was in entertainment law. She's my law partner, and I was doing the trial defense work. And so we kind of come from these really unique backgrounds. What brought us into estate planning was really the type of people. As you know, you're thrilled to serve the vast majority of the clients that you get to work with. It's just we have a lot of similarities with the background and family values, all of that kind of thing is what brought us in. The name change is still very unique. Most law firms, it's Crabtree and Patterson, for instance, here locally, or the Chaffin and Pinson and that kind of thing. That's still very common. There's a growing trend to really try to identify to the marketplace what you're doing. Part of the name Beacon Legacy Group is a little bit of a play on our Christian faith, the beacon that we're trying to shine a light, and try to guide our clients, which a lot what you do, right, Matt? And then legacy, the idea is we hope that kind of insinuates what we do, professionally. And honestly, just as we grow, we wanted to get away just from our name. We hope to have a large firm, one day, or a relative, for this region, and have other attorneys and other individuals as part of our practice in group, so that they weren't just attached to our name. And so that was kind of the genesis for the name change.
Yeah, when you mentioned about name, it's like my business. I decided to do the brand me. I worked for about 8 years under another company. I was branding myself as an agent of that company. Yeah. And so I was like, no, I want to brand me. So
makes perfect sense.
When I went independent, I'm Matt Libby Insurance. And I was talking to somebody one time. It's like, because I got 2 other agents in the office. There's 3 of us.
Gotcha.
And it's like, everybody doesn't have to just talk to me.
Yeah.
And then somebody said, well, you kind of shot yourself in the foot there when you said it's Matt Libby Insurance. So it's like, oh, I didn't think of it that way.
When you first got into it, Yeah.
And when I did it, I was the only agent. But it's like, I wanted to, again, kind of have that legacy of, when I do decide to retire, I'm 66, it's like I don't have a lot of years left working at the pace that I'm working now. And I'm not working at the pace I was 10 years ago. So it's great that I've got agents. And it's been refreshing. It's kind of like, and I'm finding out, something hit me this week because it was like Bree was working on something. I'd been out of town for, good part of last week visiting family. Yeah, and I come back and it's like we're doing more business than we were at this time last year, and I wasn't even here for like a week of it.
Isn't that a beautiful thing?
Yeah,
that's beautiful. That's part of what makes entrepreneurship so exciting, right? When it works, and yeah.
So when did you start doing the workshops like you're doing now?
Yeah, so the big thing about that, similar to, I guess your business model too, Matt, is the thing about estate planning is people don't know what they don't know. And other areas of law like divorce work, or, if there was a misdemeanor or a felony charge or a bankruptcy filing, those are urgent needs in a consumer's mind. They need to act. I need to get divorced. I need to protect my freedom. And the thing about estate planning is, just like financial planning or insurance planning, sometimes it can get kicked down the road. And so we really want to get out to the public to get the word out and get good information into our potential clients' hands. And so we started doing that probably 2 years ago in our office, similar to what you do and that kind of thing. And now we do some of that too, still locally in our office. But yeah, a couple years ago we decided, hey, let's get out and also outside of Cookeville, whether that's Overton County or White County or Cumberland County. And so a good percentage of our clientele do find us from a live event, and they get to know us, but more importantly, for about an hour, they get to kind of know the foundations. Like, why do I need to plan for my estate outside of just what I'm doing at the bank, what I'm doing with my agent, or what I'm doing with my advisor? Like, why do I need a lawyer involved in my life? And so it's just, we've been blessed to be able to get good information out. Right.
Yeah, I got a kick out of, because like one of the things you started your workshop, and it's like you asked the question, is like, well, why do you think, or it's just so funny how forthcoming some people are. But actually what surprised me was, some was just procrastination, and I know the lady that was on the front row, and it's like, because I can't get my husband to do it.
Yes. That was actually the first time I've opened up with like just an open question question like that, and that was a little shocking. Like, yeah, well, my spouse, does not see the value, or I just can't. I don't want to think about death or think about those things, and I put it down the road.
Yeah, and what surprised me that I didn't hear anybody say is cost.
Yeah,
it's like
sure.
Your services aren't free.
No,
mine are.
Yeah,
which is something I always tell people is like I always think that caution is like the advice you got is worth what you paid for it. And it's kind of like but you do pay for it. I get paid, and then that's what's different about mine.
Yeah,
is I get paid by the insurance company.
Yeah,
when I put people on a plan, and sometimes it's a struggle for me of. If I put them over here, this company will pay me more. Or they're offering me a bonus. And usually, though, I'll do that. It's like these companies are all about the same. This one might be a little bit less per month, but I like working with this company. And by the way, they're offering me a really nice bonus right now. So, yes, I'm leading with them.
Yeah.
But if you decide you want to go with another company, I'm fine with that, too. I'm believe fully in the transparency of, hey, and I tell them this is what. And I don't know if I've mentioned this to you or not. The Medicare Advantage plans, those zero premium that you see advertised everywhere, pay me more than a Medicare supplement plan. But the client has to spend more. And I was like, I want you to know, because yes, we do work on commission, but believe it or not, I'll make more if you get that zero premium plan. So, and that's why you see all the advertising on it.
Interesting. Yeah, that's why that's pushed. Yeah,
and people appreciate that. I mentioned like. In my workshops they're educational only, but it's like I feel like my appointments go a long time because especially if somebody doesn't know, I have to educate them first.
That 100%. 100%, yeah. It has made my initial consultations, they're still about an hour or so, but 45 minutes to an hour, but they're so much more substantive. Whenever I have a married couple that went to an event, a webinar or a live event, when they're in there, their questions are focused, and I'm not spending 30 minutes on just like, what is this thing called a trust, or like, what is a will? And by the way, I don't expect people in the marketplace to know really what that is unless they've already got that done. They don't do it every day. And so we can really dive into their family specific concerns. I found that as well.
Yeah. And they're open, and I think, now have you ever gone the dinner route?
Yeah, we have. We've not gone the super high end fancy steak and lobster and that, but we have. We've catered events and things like that, and we will continue to do that in the future. I just don't every time. Sometimes we might bring coffee and cookies or something like that, and it depends on when we do it. Yeah, right. Honestly, the hour that we are presenting also.
Right. Well, that was one of the things that with the group that I started out doing my Medicare workshops with, that was kind of their philosophy is you do it at a library or you do it somewhere that's a neutral site.
Yeah.
The people, because if you're paying for dinner, they're expecting to be pitched, whereas, hey, there's no commitment. You can come. It's, and there's no commitment there, but I don't know. You don't want to. I know I've done. I get the cards in the mail.
Come sure.
This financial planning workshop or something like that. And it's like, well, I'd love to go to the, the
nice Italian,
room, a nice steak dinner, but then I'm going to feel obligated. And it's so I think you get a better turnout, and you get the people. Well, and you have the turnout. You're going to have, or just the fact you're going to have that crowd interaction. Because they're there
because they want to.
They want the information, not the free. They're not just there for the free meal.
That's our philosophy too, and we've seen that kind of play out.
Yeah.
So and it's okay. Everyone has different ideas of doing things, but I tend to think that too. The people that come to our events are hungry they're there to learn something for their families and to put something in place. They're not just there for a steak or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, we're up on our break.
The Upper Cumberland Habitat Restore in Cookeville is expanding their team with part-time positions available. They are seeking dedicated individuals who are passionate about community impact and customer service. Responsibilities may include maintaining an organized, welcoming store environment, assisting with donation acceptance and processing, and supporting daily operations. Ideal candidates are customer-focused, proactive, and committed to fostering a positive shopping experience. Joining their team offers a chance to make a meaningful difference. For more information, contact them at restore@uchabitat.org.
This is David Price, your Twin Lakes Business Solutions Consultant. Are you or someone you know planning for college this year? Twin Lakes is proud to partner with the Foundation for Rural Service to provide graduating seniors in our service area scholarship opportunities to continue their education. FRS scholarships empower rural students to enhance their communities with valuable skills and experience. You may apply at twinlakes.net, but hurry, the application deadline is February 14th. Prepare for your future today.
And now, back to Insurance Matchmaking with Matt Libby Insurance.
All right, welcome back. We kind of ran up against the break there. I mentioned I've got, a workshop Monday at the Cookeville Library. When is I think
actually
you've got Livingston coming up here next week.
Yeah, I think next Thursday we've got one at Livingston. If anybody just has an interest in estate planning workshops, feel free to call our office. You can Google that and see our number. We have a couple I know coming up later this month. I actually should know the dates off the top of my head, and I don't.
So and just what you wanted to kind of pitch that, let people know that if you're not sure, and actually I think it's just Beacon Legacy or Beacon Legacy TN or
no, it's just Beacon Legacy Group. If they come in, we'll come up on Apple Maps or Google and those things. Our phone number is 651-1900 651-1900 if anybody wants to call us to schedule one of those events. Yeah. And if someone doesn't like coming, we're unique in that once a month or something we'll have a webinar that they can hop on.
That.
So they can call us there if they're interested in that too.
What kind of response have you had on those? I'm probably going to be doing some of that this year too.
They vary wildly. Like sometimes there's not a great turnout, then other times it almost matches a live event in person. Yeah. So we continue to do them. It depends on the ages and stuff too. A lot of our clients, Matt, it's a family kind of affair. Depending on what of course we always have a client. Our representation scopes out. Whether it's John and Martha, Lannom, or who is it going to be? But a lot of times they want their adult children involved, and so it might be that the Zoomer generation might be more of Gen X or even millennials that's helping out someone who might not really want to deal with the Zoom, but they might want to come there collectively and set up and stuff. And then honestly, we have a lot of folks in their 70s and 80s that are perfectly proficient with Zoom. It's becoming more so.
Right.
So
I don't have a lot of patience for those in their 40s and 50s that can't do the internet.
Just click the button, right? It's okay, folks. Just click there and it'll come right up. Yeah.
But it's funny that I still deal with some of them with the flip phones.
Well, me too. I had a client come in a couple weeks ago. It was like, this is what I've been on for 20 years. I flipped it right up.
I don't have email. I just got a new phone.
Yeah. We'll print off our intake for you. Yeah.
But you mentioned, the adult children. That's where the webinars, I guess, in your case, and same with mine is. They may not be local, so you can have the adult child that's living in Arizona.
That is correct.
Being there for mom and dad, and
absolutely a lot of we all know that, right? In our modern economics, that a lot of people are disjointed across the Southeast or all over the country, and so especially with all these folks moving here, their children are in Illinois or they're still in Utah or whatever, and so a lot of times they're coming on too, right? So that they can learn. They also want to get to know their parents' professional or whatever. And then we have a lot of estates. We do a lot of probate. Not a lot of probate. It's probably 25% of our practice, but a lot of times the decedent passed away in Tennessee, the loved one, the adult child or something that's opening the estate, they're coming on a webinar or something to learn more about our practice because they're going to hire us when they're out of state actually to open the estate in Tennessee.
Yeah. One of the things I thought of, what is maybe one of the strangest questions you've had during one of your seminars? I'm sorry. I probably should
No, it's okay.
Present that question.
Just a lot of family drama that like there's just no self-awareness of like that might not be the right question to ask in a group of 50 people, but where my mother's passed away and my sister's still living in the house. She thinks the house is hers, and like, what are we gonna do? Can we just like go through around? I mean, just things like that. A lot of family drama questions that it's not really legal advice. They're it is legal advice, but it's just really off the wall, bizarre facts like that, So.
Yeah, well, I got a kick out of one of the answers you gave to a young lady at the end. Well, I say young lady, this lady at the end of the presentation, and it's like, I got to be careful because I can't just give you legal advice with not knowing all sides of it. From what you've told me, it sounds like yes, you can go ahead and sell that property, but if you want to. Check with somebody, but it sounds like you should be able to. And that's the thing. I have to be careful. I run into more I have to be careful not giving tax or investment advice because it affects what I do. Because a lot of people will ask about their Social Security or still working when they draw their Social Security. Yeah. And I'm like, that's not my specialty. I've got a general idea on it, but you still need to talk to somebody else on that, especially our under 65 health insurance with the marketplace. Your income plays such a big part into what the subsidies are. And so
it can really get complicated.
It can get complicated. So I have to tell people, it's like, well, this is kind of like this, but double check this with your tax preparer because I'm not, I can't give that advice. But I can say, hey, you estimate your income. You get a tax subsidy based on that estimated income. If your income ends up being more than you estimated, you'll have to pay some of that subsidy back. Because I don't want a penalty. No, it's not a penalty.
Yeah.
It's just tax owed. So it's either, or if you overestimated your income, you didn't get as much tax credit as you should have. So you should, and I always say, and be careful and say, you're going to get a refund. It's like, it'll reduce your tax bill.
And it really, which is just true though.
Yeah. It reduces your tax bill, which could be a refund because if you're owed. But I can't say you're going to get a refund because you overestimated your income because they may still owe.
Exactly. And you put your finger on something there that we've debated like, hey, should I as the attorney or our law firm, right, my law partner, me, whoever's presenting, just not answer any questions? And it's like, well, that's very off-putting to an audience completely. But I do have to be careful and probably more careful. There are a lot of really pointed questions where it's like all I can go off of is the facts presented, and I do the best I can to generally, give some feedback and advice. And of course, we try to waive, in our presentations and things, the attorney-client privilege is not attached and stuff. But we always have to be careful. And of course, with the investments and things like that, there's a whole host of other regulatory things that you have to be careful of. But tax is a big one too. We are estate planning attorneys. We work with tax laws all the time.
Right.
At the same time, we're not a CPA. We don't do that professionally 24/7. And so when it comes to trust tax returns, and a CPA does those after we've completed the trust, or even a personal income tax return, they need to go and get additional tax advice from a accountant or a CPA.
Right. Yeah, I run into, because sometimes, and again, they'll start going, well, I got Dr. So-and-so, and he said I got, and it's like, we're getting a little more specific into your needs. That would be something maybe we should schedule an appointment and go over. It's, it's like, I can't, and also the other thing is, I would have to get in specifics of plan benefits to answer that question.
And we don't have the time.
Well, and I can't do that in that setting. It's like I cannot talk about a certain plan's benefits because that is now a sales presentation. If I say, well, with company A, that hospital copay is $300 per day. I've just crossed into that sales presentation. And Medicare's gotten so strict on us this last year, the last couple of years, but especially this last year. We used to be able to set up appointment at the meeting. We'd bring our computer. We have the calendar on the computer, and we'd schedule them for next Wednesday at 2:00. No, I have to give them the address. We're no longer allowed to fill out what they call a scope of appointment, which is just, and I don't know why that's restricted, because all it is a permission slip that this last year they reinstated the 48-hour rule, because we used to just fill it, for the last several years we've been able to just fill it out at the beginning of the appointment, which again, the form's ridiculous. I won't get into that one, and I've bemoaned that on here on previous shows. But they said, no, you can't do that. It's like, but we can have what they call a permission to contact. So a person can sign a form that says we can call them to schedule an appointment, but we can't schedule an appointment.
Have they given any feedback? And I'm wondering if that was just from the previous administration, or if it's more deeper than that. But did they ever talk about why? Like, of course, consumer protection. Yeah, but you are a professional in this industry. Like, why?
Yeah, yes, I do attribute it a lot to the previous administration. So I am cautiously optimistic that things are going to get better in my industry in this next year.
Yeah,
and it may take a year to undo some of those things.
Yeah,
but. No, this is the part that I harp on is, I mentioned, you see all those ads on TV, or people are constantly getting phone calls, and the next thing they know, they've signed up for a different Medicare plan, and those call centers, we put them down. There are legitimate call centers, but
Sure.
there also are ones that you got a person in there that's on the end of that phone, and they just have a quota to meet that day, and they're gonna get you signed up for something. That's their job. Versus somebody local like myself, who I got to make sure you got the right plan, because I don't need any bad press. But you can't remember the name of whoever you talked to on the phone before.
100%.
They had a lot of complaints 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But it was all the call centers. That was all the telemarketing. They cracked down on us.
Yeah, and there's no ramifications on limiting those commercials or those advertisements or those call centers. They're still just full tilt.
Well, they have done a little bit on that, but one of the big things they did, they made us start recording our calls if we're doing. And at first they were saying, you talk to anybody about Medicare, you have to have the call recorded. Well, a lot of people don't have anything set up for recording their calls. It's and then they find, well, no, only if it's a sales presence. But it's like their solution to fix the call center problems was have all agents record their calls. We weren't the problem. The call and call centers record all their calls.
Yeah,
already. It was like, no, send us your recordings, and we're going to start fining the call centers for the misrepresentations.
Yeah,
no, we're going to make everybody.
It just doesn't make any sense, does it? Yeah.
So I kind of feel like it's like the sobriety checkpoints, where we're going to check all the innocent people, so we might catch one person under the influence
and hold up traffic for 2 hours for everybody.
Because now they have to publicize they're going to do them.
Yeah.
It's like you get caught in a sobriety checkpoint. It's your own fault.
Yes, I would agree. Yep.
But so the rules have got on us, and there's some change, and I'm hoping one of the changes will come quickly on the health insurance side. And I don't want to go into that. I want to talk more about what Beacon Legacy Group does. I'm kind of keeping an eye on the clock. I don't want to run out of time. Go ahead and reiterate how to contact your office. What's the best way to reach you? Those kind of things.
Yeah. So again, our office is right down, in the old historic district of Cookeville, right across from the Cookeville Pregnancy Clinic on North Dixie Avenue. You can reach us at 931-651-1900, or just go online and find our website. It's beaconlegacygroup.com. And again, what we do, estate planning. How do we want to convey our assets after death, right? Beneficiary designations are a certain part of that puzzle, but what if we're in a blended family? We have a special needs loved one. We need tax planning. We own real estate. These individuals really need to come and see us. We also do estate litigation and probate. We want to avoid that for most of our clients, but if that's a need, we certainly do that. We do a lot of business planning. If you're listening to this and you don't have a will and you don't have an estate plan done, please call us. On the point about call centers in your industry, one thing that's plaguing the estate planning industry is like LegalZoom, WillAndTrust.com, and these things. It's kind of your version of direct to the consumer marketplace. Yeah. They're pouring in hundreds of $millions on like Fox News, CNN, things like that, and people are really taking action without ever talking to a professional. And I have several will contests in my office right now. Largely those are from online DIY wills. If you're listening, we have an assortment of affordable options. Yes, we have complex planning, and there's prices in between. Everything we do is flat fee. Come by and talk to us.
All right. So we're coming up on the end of the show here. I'm going to keep Tyler here, and we'll get a second week out of this. But this will be if you missed it or want to go back and listen, as always, we do put the recordings up on YouTube. The link's on insurancematchmaking.com. And remember, at Matt Libby Insurance, we can cover you from head to toe. It doesn't have to cost you an arm and a leg.
You've been listening to Insurance Matchmaking with Matt Libby, your path to health, life, and Medicare coverage with Matt Libby Insurance.